Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Ew.
How cool. Technology is so cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're in a room hanging out.
Here we
It's a
are.
slumber party.
Maybe we are.
All right, what's our check-in question? We're
Do you
starting.
remember the ones I told you earlier? Can we answer
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so I was, Vanessa, I was eating chicken earlier, and I was thinking about you. And
What does the chicken have to do with anything?
I just wanted to get weird for a second. Let
You're
Vanessa
just
know. I was
promoting
thinking about
chicken?
her while I was eating chicken. Yeah, pasture raised, organic. Anyways, the check-in question, Vanessa, is if it's two-part. If you could play one instrument for the rest of your life, what would it be? And or do you want to hear the second one now or after?
After?
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go with that one. If you could play one instrument for the
I
rest
am
of your life.
I don't know if I could
Any-
choose. I
any.
think piano's super rad and violin is awesome. I like cello too. I like instrumental like music when I'm meditating or just like
Flowing.
need to ground, which is just every minute of every day. So it's like I'm constantly listening to like instrumental music, but I don't know. I don't know.
So I'm hearing piano and cello.
Yeah, and violin is tight and
I could see you playing the violin.
I
Because
feel
it's
like that is
small.
up your
I
alley.
feel like a cello would just, we wouldn't, it's like,
all right, so that narrows it down. You're right. That's a huge
like,
so it's basically between
you wouldn't be able to carry your cello.
No, I wouldn't. It would
Wow.
actually be larger than me.
You
like,
need an
in
assistant.
height and everything. Like
Assistant.
what would I Just
A violin is so
a personal
tiny.
assistant for my cello. Cool.
A tiny violin. For a tiny person.
Yeah, and then piano too. It's just like, what? I don't own a house. Like, where am I going to put that shit?
Maybe keyboard.
You know, I like the idea of the violin though,
Violin.
because it's very like
so
mobile.
refined.
It's very mobile. We really narrowed it down together.
I thought you said
Like-
noble.
Noble. It is noble and mobile.
That's what I mean.
You could like throw it in your backpack.
Wow.
Yeah, and I could
That's
break it
just-
out anytime and just like serenade people and like
or like
even
get out
myself.
your aggression.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Oh,
I can
yeah.
skate with it, you know,
Yeah.
like
Oh.
just, I don't even know how to hold it. I'm like,
Dude, someone that needs to
Right
happen.
here. If anyone's looking to give personal lessons to Vanessa Torres.
you heard it
Here we
here
go.
first.
Here's your shot.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we narrowed it down to violin. And then the second part of that is if you actually woke up tomorrow and you turned into an instrument, what would you be for the rest of your life?
Oh, that is so fucking weird.
Is your what was in your chicken?
We'll never know.
Drugs. I don't think your chicken was organic. I think it had some
MSG.
toxins pumped into it,
I feel really good.
making
right
you
now.
crazy.
I feel really good. So think what you want, you guys.
I don't know why I find that question so disturbing. Because I literally want to go down this sexual path where I'm just like, oh, who's going to have me in their mouth? Oh, like a trumpet or like a, you know, like
Oh my god,
No.
A
that's
flute?
not-
a flute.
well, that's not that kind
That's
of
not
show.
in your-
It's called
you
squeezing
know.
the juice.
it's not that kind of
Do you know
question.
flute's like fully not in the mouth? It's like totally
No,
like on
it's
the
literally
side.
just skim of air.
In the mouth would be like a saxophone. I feel like that's like all up in your
Clarinet.
mouth.
Tuba.
Clarinet.
Maybe you could be a tuba.
I don't know, dude. Maybe the drums.
Maybe a cello.
You want someone to hit you all day?
Yeah. There we go.
Ooh, free
See,
massage.
it is sexual. It just got sexual. I was like, that's kinky.
So we're
No,
going
drums.
concussion.
Drums.
Someone
I'm
just-
sold.
Drums.
Drumming your butt all day.
Yeah. Precisely.
Fabulous. I'm so glad we asked this checking
Yeah.
question. Yeah. What would you play for the rest of your life?
I
What would you wanna wake
really
up as?
wish that I could sing.
Really?
I mean, I could sing. Anyone can sing, but it doesn't sound good. So I really wish that it sounded good, because
Mhm.
then I would just sing all the time. And
How do you
people
know it
would
doesn't
pick up.
sound
Oh,
good?
Trust me, I know. When I was a kid, I had this. My parents bought me this little. It was like those little Fisher Price like
Oh
cassette
yeah.
tape with the mic attached to it, and I would like literally carry it around with me because it had like a cord, and I would just carry it around the house, like or run around the house and like always be singing into it. And one time my mom was
I
like,
feel like we all had one of those. I feel like I had one too.
I had one of
they were
those.
awesome.
You don't care what you sound like as a kid, though.
I
That's
know.
why,
I was just like
Totally.
I was like singing my heart out. And one time my mom was just like, I know you really love singing, but you should probably
Damn,
consider
Mom.
it different.
No way. Wow.
She's like, you may want to consider something different. I wasn't butthurt about
crushing
it.
dreams. You're like, you know what, Mom? I know. You're right.
I wasn't even butthurt about it. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Shoot hoops in the backyard.
Well, look at you now.
Be good at sports.
Look at you, still on a mic.
Could still
Thanks
go
a lot,
do some
Mom.
karaoke whenever we want.
Dude, I love
You could still
karaoke.
start a band if you wanted to. And,
really could.
you know?
You're really good.
I don't know.
Don't
I
have
mean,
to be-
if
doesn't have to be
I
good.
had, I guess you could get better at singing, but I feel like some people you're born with a natural ability to like hit, you know, certain notes and like harmony and whatever. But
So you want to be able to hit the high stuff?
I just
like,
would
you
love
go
to
baritone.
sing and for it to sound good so that I could just go around singing and people be like, wow, it's amazing. Thanks for like making my day better.
God.
Mm.
Do you know any singers, like people who can sing? Like, it's kind of awesome. I just want them to sing all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want them to sing all the time, but
They
it's
could
nice.
like sing hello to me, and that's better than just being like, hi.
All right. Would you wake up a certain instrument? I mean, what instrument would you want to wake up as for the rest of your life?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It is a
So
weird
it's a totally weird
question.
question. That was the whole point. I wanted to get
Yeah.
weird.
Weird chicken question.
Well, mine got weird. So,
It's only weird if you make it weird, you know?
yeah. No, weird is, my therapist says weird is good because
Weird
weird
is-
is new. Weird is new.
Mm,
Like you haven't had those thoughts. before?
Yeah. It's like weird.
yeah.
What if you woke up as symbols and you were just getting like fucking sound checked
Like,
every
nope, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Brings you back in. Nope.
yeah.
I just realized what my
Like-
answer is.
Oh,
Are you ready for this?
do
Okay.
tell.
You didn't answer, but we're going to come back to you, Kim.
Symbols.
Oh, are you going
The
to symbols?
things where they're like
Yep.
that. I mean, I would be awake all the time. No sleeping.
That's real.
I like sleep. Fuck that. I pick drums. So,
You must love sleep.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
my
can
answer
sleep
for
with
now.
voice.
I'll let you know
It's
if I
fine.
come up with something better.
Okay, symbols.
What's yours?
Okay. I'll start with the other one first. So I really want to know how to play Spanish guitar.
Oh,
That's
so
what I want
cool.
to know. Like if I could learn anything. Oh my god.
What's the difference between Spanish guitar and not Spanish
it's like
guitar?
fast and like just full free form jam. Like I don't know a lot about it yet. I'm literally looking for somebody to teach me. I went online and like I emailed a handful of like folks that teach like guitar lessons and like jazz and rock and all these different types except Spanish guitar. And they're always like, you should really find someone that teaches that specifically. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to do. So anyways, you should look it up, but it's pretty much like really fast, like guitar playing.
Is it an actual physical different instrument or no? It's just the style of
I
playing?
don't think so. It's just the style of playing. It's like
Gotcha.
fast and sliding your fingers up and down of it like really quickly. It just sounds incredible. And like, yeah, you have to have some like real skill. Not that any other guitar takes skill, but because of the speed that I imagine you have to play at.
Yeah.
It just
I
sounds
think
incredible.
Spanish guitar is pretty tight. So
It just feels like it feels also very like expressive. Like I feel like you get to
Mhm.
just like go for it. So it just seems very,
hammer
like-
it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So
No,
it just
I get you. I get
right
it.
when that
Is this
yeah.
check-in
Pretty cool.
question just a ploy to find a Spanish guitar instructor?
Yeah.
on the
I'm
internet?
so glad you all gathered here to help me find a
Isn't
Spanish
that why we're here
guitar
to just
Yeah.
like
teacher.
express our deepest desires and
Yeah.
wants?
Put all our Craigslist requests out there in the world.
Yeah.
Spanish guitar
Flat
instructor.
screen and,
Depends sponsorship.
nothing secret anymore in the world of media.
no, let's just get it all out now. You
Mhm.
know,
Hmm.
Okay, then what would you wake up as?
I would wake up as a harp.
You've had time to think about that.
I know. I literally, when I like always ask
That's a
these
good one.
questions, I never think about how I would answer them. And then when y'all were like, "Well, isn't
I'll
this for
believe you.
everybody?" I was like, "I swear on the
A
chicken."
harp. That's so good. You would just be in
Damn.
beautiful harmony the moment you wake up.
I
It
literally
also
thought
means
about it
that
as you're
someone's
speaking.
touching you all day.
I mean,
Any
it seems
instrument you're
very-
being touched.
Not necessarily.
What instrument are you not?
I guess if it's a wind instrument, it's your mouth, but I guess you're still being touched. You're being sucked or blown. Are there any instruments?
I'm sorry. What just happened?
I did not imagine this question going.
You put it out there. You started it.
Sometimes Kim surprises me. I'm just like, go on.
You created it. You said
I sure did. I planted the seed, and
a triangle is pretty unsexual.
Suck and blow.
Oh, that's real.
Ooh, because you're not actually the person's hand's not touching. It's the little stick that's touching.
Or what about like a tambourine?
You're still being held, I guess.
Okay.
I think we should move on.
Leaving meeting?
Oh, wait, no. Don't go.
I would never.
This is definitely what people want to hear us talk about.
100%.
Instruments.
Weird.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's just the check-in question.
All right. So we are here with Vanessa Torres. So many titles. I don't even know. To me, you are a pioneer in life, obviously in skateboarding. I would say there's all the like statistical like resume stuff, but I think you were actually one of the first pro female skaters that I saw in like magazines back in like, I don't know, early 2000s, 2000, 2001, 2002. I don't know, sometime around that era.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people reference like you as being one of the first like professional women that were making a living out of skateboarding back then. And you were like, what, 14? Making a living. Well, you were.
Right.
I mean, I was. It's at some point. Like, there was still in my teens for sure. I was making money. Yeah. Wait, what did you ask me? How old I was? What?
You were like 14 back then.
Yeah. I think when I started picking up sponsors, around like 14. Yeah. And then, and I think I was pro for Element by 16, 17, 15, 16. Yeah. Around there.
And like, I'm only a few years older than you. So like when I saw you in the magazines, I was like only, we're like kind of around the same age, but so pro skater, pioneer, because there weren't a lot of women back then, unlike now. Now also, to me, you're definitely someone who's like a mentor in the community for like the up and coming pro skaters or the younger pro skaters. Like I've seen you take that on, which has been awesome.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, we talked about that. You've basically been self-employed since you were 14. It's like you've not had a different job up until recently.
I don't think anybody that doesn't know anything about skateboarding would ever it's so unconventional what we do. Yeah. Like anything that we do, it's like, no, unless you're in it or if you experienced it, like you have no idea like how it works. Like I was just talking to my brother and he's like blue collar job, like works in, welding as a supervisor, all this stuff. And like, he's talking about time off and us meeting up. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to this country and judging this contest. And then I'm coming back and I have a couple weeks off and like, we should hang out. You know what I mean? Like it's just different because he has to ask for time off. And like, it's just, but self-employed pretty much my whole life for the most part.
Yeah. And it's almost like, especially back then, because there wasn't this pathway. Like now there's like a pathway you could like follow a formula. It was like, it's not a job. It was that you did what you loved and you found a way to like get income and resources to keep doing what you loved, which is totally not a job. A job is literally like, something you have to do for money.
Yeah, you commit and you stay, and then you get fired. Or
that was like, so it's like the reverse, which is especially back then. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that was so radical, and like there's more of that now. Like people are like YouTubers and bloggers or whatever. They like find something they like and like figure out a way to like sustain. But back then it wasn't. That wasn't like.
There's a lot of struggle, like for sure, and like figuring out. I don't know, like coming into my own identity, like what, you know what I mean? Like standing up for myself and being like, oh no, this is what I like. I don't want to like project this because I don't relate to this. And so it's just like survival mode, I think, for a long time. You know what I mean? And today though, the amount of opportunities at hand is just like astronomical, which is so rad because there's so many different avenues that you can take and still be involved in what you love. And, I'm grateful for the hardship. Like I really am, because it makes you appreciate like all the opportunities that are opening up. Like it's not just about me. It's so much bigger than that. And then being a part of that as well is really cool. So
Yeah, I think it's really powerful. I get, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, just
Yeah.
sort of your narrative and your path in skateboarding specifically. But I get, like Kim was talking about, how really like radical and revolutionary it was, how you kind of got to like take the path you did, even though, yes, there
and survive and like also, you know what I mean? Like the gratification of a lot of that too. And like, you know, downfalls and just, you know, roller coaster. And I mean, that makes life exciting as long as you are alive and you survive.
Right.
Just to see tomorrow.
Yeah. It's just so cool that from a young age, you really stuck to your root of skateboarding and it being fun and it being like your place where like, it's almost like your safe space. And yes, I'm sure along the way, there was a lot of things, but like skateboarding kind of being your anchor along the way. Like a lot of people don't navigate life like that, you know?
Wow.
And so I think, yes, there's a lot of obstacles and trials and tribulations and stuff like that, but it is pretty radical that you really stuck to your guns in that way.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like wanting to do what you want and then actually choosing to like discipline yourself, you know what I mean? And like that's been coming up a lot. And I'm thinking about it right now. It's like, oh, I've been doing this from a young age, even if I wasn't completely aware of it or I hadn't embodied it yet, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's really, I don't take enough time to think about like those, which is crazy because they're so empowering. You know what I mean? When I do think about them, especially if I'm like feeling, say I'm feeling down or I'm feeling a certain way or my anxiety is like super high. And those are the things it's like, dude, like, what are you grateful for? Like, what's happened in your life? What have you done? Like, and I've done so much and I forget. And then I also have all this whole like vault of shit that I can just be like, dude, you're doing great. Like, you're good.
Yeah. 100%. What I'm hearing too from what you're sharing is like, I think it's really important, especially as we get older, to no matter how old you are, but like really like giving yourself grace and like being gentle and like being present to like what you've accomplished and where you've been and how it's like made you stronger. Like, you know, even when you know, so that idea of like resilience and stuff like that, but just being gentle with yourself and reminding yourself.
That's what I tell people all the time when I'm like holding space or, you know, anything. I'm just like, I try to express what I would actually tell myself in those moments. And it's always like beating yourself up. And that has been something that I've been practicing a lot more over the past few months and like through therapy and stuff like that. It's just like, be kind to yourself.
Totally.
Like you are doing great. You're doing the best you can. Like no feeling is like permanent, you know what I mean? And like, just like pushing through. Cause guess what? You're still here. You did all of this back here and you're here. You're still here.
Yeah.
So
like,
but
you are enough. That's the thing. Like no one tells themselves they're good enough or smart enough or fast enough or whatever.
It's like your own internal dialogue. And like, obviously it feels really good to, you know, to listen to you guys talk and say the things that you say, you know what I mean? Cause it's like, oh, you feel really seen. And, you know, sometimes like the validation of others, goes a long way, I guess. I don't like rely entirely on like outside validation. It's like, you have to like love yourself and like give yourself that. And, so it's been a process. I just, you know, it's been great. It's been great.
I also think it's like there's like validation, but then there's also just like listening to how other people like see you, view you, which is very different than how you listen to yourself, you know? So
no shit. That's what I mean. So it's really nice because it kind of like rewrites like the neuropath of like maybe where you're at right now. Like I've been anxious a lot recently and I honestly think it's because I've had a lot of time off.
Yeah.
And then also like beating myself up over, did I do enough in my time off? And like you set your stuff. I mean, I was having a conversation about it too. And it's like where we tend to set up goals for ourselves. And then when we get to the end and we don't accomplish them, we like, drill ourselves. And like, you're a terrible person.
Make yourself
like you're
wrong,
a piece of shit and can't believe, you know what I mean? But the whole, I feel like purpose of setting goals is like that sets the intention and the motivation to like move forward and be proactive and do things. And so that was like a big eye opener for me too. Cause I was like, what? I went into like so much nature. I went on so many hikes, and like that grounds me, like being in nature grounds me. And like the one thing is like I haven't been skating. And I hope people who are actually watching and like maybe they go through this too. It's like, yeah, I don't like live, breathe, eat skating all the time. You know what I mean? I apply myself to other things out in the world, like being in nature, like going on hikes, getting lost in like wild, like wilderness. You know what I mean? Riding my bike. It doesn't really matter, but I do miss skating a lot because I feel like that's the one thing that's that I know. Just movement, like body movement, and it's consistent, and I know it very well. And also I get nervous about like not skating for a while and then going and skating. It's like I'm like, oh my God, jelly, and like not my brain isn't connected, like my body, those aren't connected yet. And like, but it's kind of exciting because like once I eat shit, I'm like, I love it. Like, and then I'm like ready to go. It's been really interesting. The break has been really interesting for me because I've noticed that I like to like cram things in the last minute, and I was like, I don't know why I do that. Like, I really gotta just like
dude, you thrive
like,
under pressure. That's
I
like
know,
what you do get at contests.
But I'm like, But then I'm like, is that healthy? Like, is it worth the anxiety that's choking me out like every day?
Right.
Like,
that's real.
So my therapist told me that I'm extremely hyper aware, which I am. It's like I have a lot of self-awareness, and which is really great because it puts me ahead of like so much work, you know what I mean? But also it's like, oh, I don't have all the tools. Like, you know what I mean? It's learning how to like what tools you need, like your resources, and like how to apply that with its self-awareness, you know what I mean? And like I need to move my fucking body, dude. And I'm like, I'm gonna do yoga, I'm gonna do all this shit. And then it's like, I didn't do it. And I'm like, dude, I bought a mat. Like, fucking, like, such an idiot. But
step one, whatever.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's what Amy Caron would say. She's like, you're 10% on the way there. Like, you got the mat, cool, you're 10%.
A step
there.
in the right direction.
But yeah, and then, I think realizing that I do thrive on structure, like having a schedule, and also it is stressful, like judging all these contests, traveling, like you know what I mean? I'm just like flying everywhere, which is really great. I like super grateful, but I realize I'm more intentional with my time after being gone and coming back and only having like a smaller window, like a couple weeks, you know what I mean? So
that's why they say like busy people get stuff done, because you literally have like a finite capacity that you gotta like get it done. If you just like had nothing on your schedule, you don't get anything done. That's how I am anyways.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like all humans like need structure. Like if you read it, like, but I don't know, books like Power Habit, it's like humans are designed to be habitual. Like that's like, we're not that different than animals. Like when you take a dog or a cat out of its comfort zone, like its house or its owner, like away from its owners, it like is traumatized. And that's like, we are the same. We just don't like think that we are. So when it comes to like traveling and all that stuff, like you definitely got to like figure out how to like make a routine for yourself.
Yeah,
this is how I amplify my anxiety.
What is that?
Coffee.
Is that caffeine? Oh, coffee right now?
Oh, let's just while we're on the subject. No, dude, it's like drinking a no duels. Like that's what people ask me. They're like, do you, with my
how are you gonna go to sleep tonight?
I don't. I will. I just whatever. I'll figure it out. But it's really funny. It's like I know like my anxiety is like super high right now, but and I know I probably shouldn't drink coffee, and then I'm just like 2 iced Americanos a day, and I'm just like, it's just like that's where discipline is. It's like, sure, I want to drink it, you know what I mean? Like it's how I start my day, like all of these things. But I'm like, dude, my heart and like this shit's just firing off, and then like I'm just, But
2 doesn't seem horrible. 2 a day, for real?
When you don't eat.
Okay,
yeah, that's real.
You should eat some food.
Totally. It doesn't make you feel crappy to have that on an empty stomach.
Yes, Ash, it does. And then also just like, I feel like I have cabin fever within myself. Like, right. You know what I mean?
I think that's how most people
recently
feel.
I'm just like, I'm so sick of myself, but I'm still loving myself and all of it. You know what I mean? Like all of these things, and I'm also like laughing. And when I tell friends, I'm like, do you ever feel like you're just sick of yourself? Like just sick of yourself. It's like, go do something. Like,
yeah.
I don't even know, but
I feel you.
Yeah, or just like accept that like it's fine if you have 2 Americanos a day.
Yeah.
And like maybe
There's
There's
that
nothing wrong
too.
with that.
Yeah.
hydrate.
And I'm just
Yeah.
in a, yeah, maybe hydrate a little bit.
Yeah, and eat some food.
Yeah. I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
I love it.
But well, I guess back to introducing you because I feel like I did.
Oh,
kinda,
right.
But
This is great. This is a conversation. I like that we're just like,
also, like, what I
bing-bonging.
mean, so I feel like now, given so if like someone for like people watching or listening, like I'm sure there's a lot of people that know you, and there's some people that don't know you. I feel like like the word pioneer or like someone who just like paved the way comes to mind. And also now, like I do feel like you're like the beholder of like rightness when it comes to like other pro skaters because like you're in a position, so you're judging contests, like all the global pro contests, you're like on track to be in Tokyo. And I love what you said to me about like why you're doing it because it's a job, and obviously it makes sense given your career, your history, because you're not competing anymore. But like, can you tell us why you decided to like take that on?
I was like, I knew you were going to ask me this.
I love it. That's why I love the reason.
It is important. I think so rad to share.
I mean, it's just another. I don't know. It's just another way to like bring visibility to like just to women in skateboarding or just in, you know what I mean? Like having a presence in this judging panel, all of these different things, you know what I mean? And like,
which is usually all dudes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes things are a little bittersweet. I feel like Olympics have opened up, you know what I mean? A huge, just so many opportunities, you know what I mean? And obviously there has to be like gender equality. Like it's, you know, there's not going to just be a men's skateboarding event. Like there has to be women's as well. And I feel like I kind of like self-actualized this whole judging thing, you know, because when I did quit or when I was like, all right, I'm not going to compete anymore. That was I think you and I even had a conversation that I was like, I didn't even realize until we had a conversation where I was like, oh, it was actually really terrifying because I had no idea what I was going to do. I don't think, obviously I was writing for Meow at the time and making like a little bit of royalties off of, my board sales and stuff, but I didn't nothing was paying. Like I was not making money, and I wasn't making money skating contests because I wasn't putting in the work to stay up in the top 3, which is where the money is. And then I was also like, I don't want to do this anymore because it just killed
your
skateboarding
body
for me. It just killed it for me. The whole thing, my body too. I was just like, I'm kind of at a point where it's not even that, oh, I'm in my 30s, blah, blah, blah. Like I wasn't even 30 yet. I think I was like 28 when I started. I don't know. But then it wasn't until I went on the Zoomies Best Foot Forward tour that to basically work as a judge, work all of these events, that I was like, oh, and then you just learn a new craft, and like it's still involved in skateboarding. And I have no idea what I told you when we talked about this before, but I don't know. I want to like be in there and representing like my community, you know what I mean? And in whatever that looks like, it whether it looks like this right now, or just like work that, you guys are doing with like Skate Like a Girl and all of that stuff is like, that is, I'm sure like politics and stuff like that with the Olympics, like there's a lot of controversy around that. You know what I mean? I was like, this is where I am and this is what I'm doing. And I want to make a contribution here and, go in there and like do my best and be a part of, I don't know why we all like love skateboarding, like just watching but I go in there totally unbiased, which is people think is insane. And I'm like, no, it's actually really easy. You just go in, you're like judging skateboarding. There's objective criteria. And then sometimes you're subjective, you know what I mean? So it just really depends, but it's actually really interesting to look at skateboarding in a totally different lens. Like, and I don't think it's for everybody. Like, I don't think it's for everybody.
I mean,
like it's it's been, I guess I could say that it's been smooth sailing. but yeah, things can get real crazy and intense, and you're I don't know. It's just rad. I get to watch skateboarding evolve and be a part of that, and especially specifically women skating.
Yeah.
Like to be on like, I want to say the forefront, but really I'm on the behind the scenes in like a box, and you know what I mean? But still I'm like watching this, and for example, like Street League in Rio, and Pamela Rosa did this gnarly gap to lip slide, and I was just like, my head exploded. Like that's what gets me pumped. But I know that like I love a good street part. I love like a part that's literally, or clips that are just like women or out just skating curbs and stuff. Like that shit gets me hyped. Like
Right.
But this is where my work is where it is right now, and that's what I get to experience, and it's fucking rad. Like I get to, and I'm judging it, and someone might beat me up later, I don't know, like I might need to escort out. Like I'm just kidding, but that's some shit though, dude. Like
there's a lot of emotions involved, but I also feel like it's like so right and perfect because there's no one better because
exactly
it's competed in every freaking
that's what I'm
contest
saying. I'm like,
10 years.
yeah, I can like gloat. I guess I could talk about myself, you know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, I've literally have had my foot in every single thing that you could possibly, you know what I mean? And like, it's hard work. Like I'd be lying if I said it, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're one of five, and you're ultimately collectively deciding someone's future, or like, you know what I mean? It's so different. US is like skateboarding's so huge here. Like skateboarding is never going to die here. Yeah. But you have like, these countries like coming in for the first time, and they're just like, don't even know skate. It's wild. Like, don't even know skateboarding. You know what I mean? Or like the culture, or like how we communicate, and like, you know what I mean? And how we do things, and how familial it is. And so I had to like be careful about, I can't talk to anybody. Like the closer we get to the Olympics, is like, I can't have conversations like I used to if I was judging or announcing or something of an event that wasn't Olympic sanctioned. You know what I mean? So
what do you mean by that exactly?
It means that like we have a code of conduct. Judges have a code of conduct, and
like with the skaters or just with other people in general.
Literally,
sponsors,
just
agents,
it doesn't fucking
anyone.
matter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But obviously, I would talk to like naturally. I would talk to like, Samaria or you know what I mean? All these basically women that I've skated with.
Your
like,
friends,
compete. Yeah. And
your
also
peers.
Like, my family outside of
your
skateboarding.
Family,
so it's really interesting, but it's
I'm
fine.
so glad you're doing it. Like, I think you're the perfect person
to
be taking on the big, like a huge, like role like that, because literally the fate is in your hands, but also there's no one else. If you're going to judge something, you better have like lived it,
have been there yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you can't, I've had meetings and, with multiple people like my team and rider representatives and stuff like that. And it's kind of wild. Like, you cannot teach someone skateboarding common sense. Like, you cannot teach someone, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be a skateboarder.
Totally.
Like, I would feel that would play out in like snowboarding too, or like, you know what I mean? It's just like and I am that. I am the perfect candidate. Like, I'm not competing anymore. Obviously, we still have a ton of friends that are well in their, they're in their 30s, you know what I mean? I just chose to like, this wasn't fun for me anymore. And I wanted to explore something different. And then judging just kind of like, I'm not going to lie. I took that Zoomies job because it was a decent amount of money, but it was a decent amount of money because I was gone for so long. I was gone for like 4 months, but I got to learn like, one format of judging, like whatever, there's different like formats that are used depending, like software and stuff like that, but I was like, oh, I know how to use this now, and like I had fun doing it. And then and I wasn't making money, and I was like, I'm going to take on this job, and they were down to bring me on. And I was like, cool. I made a lot of like cool friends and like got to skate. It was actually around the time that I blew my knee out. So
I
it
remember
was a good way for me. I was at 6 months, like in my recovery, like my rehab, and I could start skating again. I was like, perfect. I'll just go on this and I'll be able to skate and make money judging these contests and, you know, hang out. And so that kind of like, I guess it's where it started a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
It was perfect. It was a blessing in disguise. I mean, for the whole skate community,
Yeah.
especially for
Yeah.
like women's skating, like
Yeah.
for you to have decided that competing wasn't for you anymore, because who knows who would be taking
No,
that path. if
I
not
didn't.
you.
Yeah. And I didn't know either. I just
Right.
like kind of took yeah. I'm proud. I'm proud that, you know, I stuck with whatever it is, even if I didn't know. And that I have a lot of good people in my life as well. And a great support system and just a strong like will, you know what I mean? Like I'm just
Totally.
gonna keep doing it and we'll see what happens, you know?
That's literally what I was just about to say. I think it's safe to say that we are all grateful that it like panned out how it did, because again, it's a testament to you really staying true to you
Yeah.
and like what your core is telling you, what your heart, your head, and your gut is telling you
Yeah.
to like make a move. And a lot of people like we often get taught in this world like you make decisions based off of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and a lot of people aren't going to understand either.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure my mom had some things to say about it. You know what I mean? I mean, God bless her. I love her. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah.
I want to hear everyone. You know what I mean? And ultimately, like, it's me. Like, it's what I choose to do. And then people understand. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Then you get somewhere else, and they're like, oh, well, like, yeah.
Oh, cool, great.
I can maybe explain it a little better now, but you know,
Right.
Yeah.
I
just feel like
I don't like the easy road. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever liked it easy. Apparently,
I also just feel like out of all, you know, because being someone like on the behind the scenes part from like day one, like I've seen so many different versions of like being sponsored and competing and then like peeling off or whatever. But like I feel like the reason why for you, like not only did you stay in it, but you succeeded and you evolved. It wasn't just like you stayed stuck in like one position, is because you just kept on like keeping it real. Well, showing up, but also you listen to like your inner voice in a way that not everyone is able to do sometimes. And I think that's what kept you sort of grounded and continuing to be, you know, where you need to be, even in the toughest times, right? Like you are someone, to me, you're someone who can't not keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, I think that would be hard. I don't even know. I've never seen you not keep it. Like, I don't know how you would do that, you know? Because a lot of people are good at like faking, like, oh, I love.
Yeah, no. I'm not good.
You're just like, no, yes or no.
I'm like, I'm a hot mess.
I mean, I just feel like that's such a like valuable like example of how to live life. Cause I feel like most of the world struggles with that. It's like, you don't keep true to yourself. You're not authentic to yourself. You don't keep it real, and you start doing things for other people or other reasons. And then you end up like not having this like fulfillment inside. And then you're trying to figure out how to like piece things together.
It's
you know
like conflict avoidance, which I've been like checking in with myself with too, you know what I mean? But yeah, you just like, oh no, like this is going to upset somebody, or this is, you know what I mean? It's like actually putting you first.
Yes.
And
like letting your inner voice be heard. And what that means is like saying how you feel. I can't just stay on the inner, you know?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like that is a struggle. And I think even for like pro skaters, you know, or women or in the earlier days, like 10 years ago when I kind of like was starting to be on the industry side of things, like that's what happened. Like you suppress, like a lot of younger girls who are getting sponsored suppress their inner voice in order to please, you know, the business or the industry or whoever. And then it's like, that's where like,
oh, I know all about
started
that.
Going,
you know what I mean? It's like conforming, you know what I mean? Like fuck that. Like,
Vanessa, do you feel like you've been like that since you were a child? Or do you feel like that was something learned along the way?
You know, I'm sure it came out, but I don't think that it's the whole embodying it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I was born knowing it. I think, I'm sure there are moments where, that like came out when I was young. But I was actually gonna say that. I was like, this wasn't, I mean, I went through a lot to get to, you know, to where I'm at now, and I still have like the rest of my life to go, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
Which is like really exciting because you're always learning, and you never have it figured out, and that's what's so exciting, you know what I mean? There's always something to learn. And so I think it took a lot of like trial and error, and you know, maybe there was a time where I like conformed because maybe I didn't know anything else, you know, and then you kind of got to try it on, you know, before you can actually be like, oh, this
not for me.
Yeah. But also, how do you build the language around it? You know what I mean? It's when you start talking about it, and you know what I mean? Whether that's with friends, and like, I think it was a process. I think for me, it's still a process. You know what I mean? Like I'm constantly discovering myself, and letting go of things that like no longer serve me, and creating new like you know what I mean? Just new rewriting things, you know what I mean? And not like letting, you know, past stuff dictate how I live today or tomorrow, you know, and knowing that there's always a different way to, there's always another way that might work for you to approaching things. Yeah. So I definitely wouldn't say this shit happened overnight.
Totally.
I have like fucking hit the ground hard, like a lot of times, you know what I mean? And like have always had the will to like get up and like keep going. I don't know how, but it's like, it's sometimes when I think about it, like not now, but you know, at different points, like definitely rougher patches of my life, I was like, wow, like how did you like it? And you just do. And yeah.
Dude, I think one of the best examples is just when you like decided to be sober. Like that was, I was there. That's probably, I think when we first started becoming like closer.
Yeah. And I was fucking terrifying too. Like I can't.
But you literally said it and then you did it, which is like most people, they say it and they struggle maybe forever with it. But you were like, this is what I'm doing. And like, you know, time you kept keeping true to that. And like,
isn't it crazy?
Like, I just feel like I like saw the whole thing unfold, right? And we're like at these different events and you're like back competing and like on the podium, and it was, I don't know, that was really inspiring. And I think that's one that in that era, like people around our age, like we're all like in our 30s, like I feel like drinking and partying and that lifestyle was like conforming, even though it's so ironic because we're like, oh, we're like, you know, we're like counterculture.
It's like we're
counterculture.
No,
right?
But like everyone did it, and it was so ingrained into everything. And now, I just feel like I'm so stoked that we have events all the time where there's no alcohol. I'm just like, it's not
like fundraising thing, like crowd. You know what I mean? Like bringing people together. Yeah, it doesn't.
It's not centered. Back then, it was so centered, and like
for sure.
I feel like
it was like, what beer are we gonna get to? You know what I mean? Like, so people come and like, also what, get drunk and not socialize. Cool.
Yeah, but it was like the center of everything. And I'm like,
it was the center of my everything for a really long time.
I mean, for me too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But and I feel like that's a common thing that I think that the younger generation now doesn't have as much because they have other forms of like whatever, you know.
But right now they're thinking about like fitness and like being able to like longevity, and like that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm real terrible at it, but you know, I have like the discipline there. I just need to fucking do it. We can talk about this another time,
right?
But like I have like the power, you know what I mean? And then it's just like breaking down that stuff. But what a lot of young people in skateboarding are seeing now are pros that are sober, like just, you know what I mean? Like longevity, like preventative, like you know what I mean? Like yoga and like working out, and like being really intentional about wanting to like be healthy and injury free, and also just fucking feeling good. You know what I mean? I'm sure I played a part. I'm sure I played a part in it. I was gonna say you paved the way in that too. Alyssa, everyone, even Leticia, she was like workout, you know, like from day one. And
like,
it doesn't have to look, it doesn't look one way. You know what I mean? Which is cool. It's like, what makes you feel good? You know what I mean? Like, and like everyone has a different regimen, or they wait, you know what I mean? They wake up and they do something different. And it's, I mean,
so great. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm just glad
I'm
that's
working
like,
on it.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
all you can do. But it's really interesting because I think about it like the culture of skateboarding and like those sort of toxicities like
Mhm.
drinking or partying or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then I also think about like just in our general culture and how people decompress or socialize and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just like thinking like how does that differ? Where did that come from? Is one kind
Yeah.
of underneath the other?
Mhm.
But I do think there is something powerful about like skateboarding starting to see folks in it, especially pros and other people that we look up to that are taking that path to be the best versions of themselves on their skateboard. Because I think skateboarding, if you're in skateboarding, like you said, there's a very like familial bond in it.
Mhm.
And I think it has something to do with like the sort of resilience. You have to really like give up the idea of like looking good because you're eating crap all the time. Like you can't look that cool when you bail. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Sometimes it happens. I know
Yeah.
you're actually really good at that,
Dude,
Vanessa.
cartwheel.
You actually you got
Queen.
some swag when it comes to bills.
Mhm.
But I just think that if skateboarders are going to take on something like once they're educated or know that they have options or see somebody else doing something, I feel like skaters are the first often to kind of
Adapt.
rise up whether other people are doing it or not because
There are
that
some
Yeah.
dedicated folk. Like they,
Yeah.
you know, they really are. Like, and if you see someone make a change and watch that unfold, you know what I mean? Like, how could
Yeah.
it not be inspiring? How could you
Totally.
not like maybe take a second and be like, oh, maybe
Mhm.
this or maybe that,
Yeah.
and you know, like, so yeah, I got to get my shit together.
My question for you, Vanessa, is like that moment when that you and Kim were just talking about where you were like, you literally, the words came out of your mouth that you were like, I am going to be sober.
Yeah.
Like, because addiction is real and it's heavy and it's a lot. And it's like, there's like literal connections in the brain that have to be rewired, like you've been talking about. And I think
Science.
a lot of times that's like trauma, mental, like more
Yeah.
mental
Yeah.
sort of trauma. And since there's not like a physical marking of it, right? Like people have to really deal with that internally and like
Yeah.
sometimes can feel very alone in that.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, like what was that had you like be able to like click and be like, absolutely not. Like I'm done. Like I'm going to choose right now. 'Cause I think those are really powerful moments.
Yeah, I don't I think it just got to the point where I was like, wow, my life is so predictable. It's so cyclical. It's just like nothing good. I've had a lot of great times. Like I can't, like, you know what I mean? That's a part
Yeah.
of it. It's part of my like my adolescence. Like it's in my introduction to skateboarding. Like once I was in and traveling and doing all of these things, like yeah, it was very hand in hand. And skateboarding and all of that as a whole, I feel like looked a certain way
Mhm.
for a long time until up until like a few years ago. You know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
it's changed and it's being broken, like kind of broken down, and like there's other avenues, there's other things that you can do to like, you know, it's not just partying. I mean, have fun, you know, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
There's like subcultures within the culture now.
Totally.
It's
yeah,
not
it's
just
crazy.
like
Totally.
one
It's
way. It was
crazy.
so one way for so long.
That's what I'm saying, and
until-
that's
yeah.
what was like portrayed too. That's what you were seeing, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, my whole thing was just like, God, this is never gonna end. Like nothing's gonna change. It's literally the epitome of like insanity. You know what I mean? For me to think that like my continue like acting this way, or choosing, I don't know. I wouldn't say choosing. Obviously, like I'm an alcoholic, and I have no shame in that. It's just, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be in recovery my whole life, and yeah, it's kind of wild that Kim remembers that, because I do remember being at WAF.
Wheels of Fortune.
Yeah. And like I
6
was
or 7.
drinking. Yeah, I
Yep.
was drinking, and I don't know. I just like got to that something.
You wanted to be sober, but you were still drinking.
I was like
Yeah.
letting go of something. Something was happening, and maybe like I wasn't as aware of it at the time, but something was leaving my body and making room for something else, and something that was like far better than the way that I had been living my life. And I had like really, you know, there was I would say like a few things like that stick out that happened leading up to that day. My sober date is May 17, which I think is 2015. And like, yeah, I'm not, there's no shame in like my story. Like, I feel like this is part of my healing too, you know what I mean? And being able to talk about like my experiences with that. And I know that like I put a lot of people that I care about in really, really scary places, and where they feared for my life. And but I'm a blackout drinker. There's nothing casual about like my drinking. It's just like I can't just one and done. It's like one and gone. Like, and then you know what I mean? So and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't, like, I deserve better. Like, I deserve to treat myself better. Like, I want to skate. And I had no idea. I was terrified. I think I was terrified. I know I told Kim, and like, I could really feel it when I said it. It didn't happen like the very next day, you know? And then I don't even know the fucking story. It wasn't some like crazy epiphany. I was just like, wow, lost my wallet, my phone's gone, like all of these things. Like I was nannying at the time, which is just fucking insane. But I love kids. I'm great with kids. I was always really responsible, but still I was just like, God, you are just doing all of these things that like it's just not okay. Like you're not okay. And I knew that for a while though, leading up to, you know, me getting sober.
Hyper aware.
Yeah, exactly. But I just wasn't ready. It was like I had already known. Like I had known for a long time. And then it just got progressively worse towards the end of like when I finally was just like, no more. Just there was only like a few things left on the fucking list to happen, honestly. And I was not willing. I refuse. I refuse to let that be my life. Like I refuse. And I was like cutting it. Like it's done. Cold turkey. That's it.
Yeah.
And
then you showed up at X Games and like got on the podium.
Right.
You were like 2 weeks sober.
Wow.
So how long was it? 3
yeah,
weeks?
it was 2 weeks sober. And a lot of shit happened. Like I was faced with a lot of stuff, you know, during that time. And in those beginning stages. Yeah. Well, I mean, DeWitt passed away. Yeah. And I remember being flying back after doing really well at X Games. I think I got fourth, which literally had not happened in so long. You know what I mean? And then the next year that I came, I was like fucking podium. And
that's right. Yeah.
That was like my comeback. And then I was like, later. But yeah, I remember being in my connecting flight in Dallas and kind of just internal banter, like having a conversation with myself where it was just like, oh, I could easily just go to the bar right now and get fucked up. Like I just found out that, you know, that he had passed away. And, but it was really interesting, like dialogue that I was having within myself. Cause I was like, no, I was like, DeWitt would be so pumped. Like, and I don't know. I chose myself. I chose myself instead of like allowing this addiction to like overpower me, like how easily it had, you know what I mean? And obviously that was a relationship that I had built with alcohol. And so it was, that was crazy. I think a lot of people were just like, holy shit, like you didn't drink, you know? Cause I don't think anybody believed that I was going to stay sober. Like I didn't believe I was going to stay sober. I was just like one day at a time, you know what I mean? And like, and it'll be 5 years like in May. And that's so fucking crazy to me. Like it's so it is wild. And I feel like very fortunate in the way that I don't know, like that I don't have these strong desires to drink, that I don't miss it, that there are moments where I do wake up and I'm like, wow, I feel like I've never drank in my whole life. And like, those are really profound moments for me, you know, and like cutting ties with, I'm very much an introvert. I think like, you know, and everyone has their trauma, you know, and like childhood stuff. And I feel like drinking was a way for me to like, I don't know, like mask and like, you know, like socialize and party and talk to people and do all of these things, which I had to learn, like literally learn for the first time
like
without
how
this,
to do it without
this
being,
like mechanism, you know,
being
and
present.
like, and I mean, it was the best, it was life or death too, you know what I mean? So it was like the best decision and choice that I made for myself, like ever. Like And I don't think anything that's happened thus far since then, like, would have happened had I still, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
been, dating alcohol. So
I feel like it's so interesting because a lot of people in a situation, so you lost someone super close to you,
Yeah.
right? And so some people, it's like, I feel like humans are designed to like be able to deal with circumstances but just based on like, I don't know, a lot of different factors. I'm just curious, like the factors, but you either rise or let it.
Self-destruct.
Exactly. And I almost feel like in that moment, it was just like you
just like
chose.
way up. Yeah.
Yeah. You were like,
I did. Yeah.
and that's, to me, like, that's just super inspiring. Cause I think that's just not, for a lot of cases, you see the opposite where that's the thing that will be the last, whatever straw in the haystack, or I don't even know what the metaphor
I think I
is,
probably kind of knew too that like, if there was any time that I was going to relapse, like this is my story, and my experience. And if I was going to, it would have been then, you know what I mean? And then I was just like, no, I like choose myself, and I choose to like, do it, like wouldn't want me to do something like that. And I didn't want to like remember him that day of me getting shit faced, and you know what I mean? And like, who knows what the downfall of that would have been, like missing my flight, a whole lot of what, it doesn't even matter. I don't know, because I chose.
Yeah. It was like once you overcame that hurdle, it was like, all right, you're good.
And then I just threw myself into skating. That was another thing that I would talk about, like whenever, conversations would come up or interviews and stuff about like my sobriety, and talking about my story, was that this is my own opinion, my own personal opinion. I think when, like, if I didn't have skateboarding, if I did not have that outlet, even like still like since a young age, like if I didn't have that, like I would be very worried. Like I think I would definitely would have relapsed. You know what I mean? If I think that's one of the hardest things is like when you get sober, it's like, where do you put your time? Like where do you, you know what I mean? Where do you put that energy? Where does it go? Mine went into skating. And when I think about other people that like are in, recovery and rehab and stuff like that, it's like not everyone has an outlet, and it fucking sucks. Like, and it's just my own theory, you know what I mean? Through my own experience, that I feel is like, I know that if I didn't have skating, my life would look a lot different. Like it just, you know what I mean? Who knows? I really, it's like, thank God I don't get to know, like you know what I mean? Thank God. Like I don't have to, you know what I mean? Like go and so.
And now it's like, we're all in this kind of pocket of older people in our community that is like committed to sharing it, in whatever way that looks like. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that that's super powerful. And then there's also like studies now. There's a video online. I should look up the name, but there's a mini documentary. There's some like neurologists that have done studies with like a kind of like I think it's like an after school youth program. But they're doing case studies around how skateboarding actually can heal brains who have been through trauma, especially youth brains, because they're developing. And they're like really getting detailed around everything from like the sounds, the motions, the amount of time spent on the board. Like, I don't know, it's just super interesting.
Getting up, trying again, like
it's the repetitiveness that rewires your brain, and they do these like brain scans, and it like heals the brain, the pockets of the brain that have been.
Yeah, I'd love to check that out. Send it to me when you find it.
There's something I really like want to point to in that story that you share, Vanessa, that I think is like so powerful, can be applied to so many different parts of like our lives, because I don't think anyone ever has an easy path. And I think there's always obstacles that you're going to face, people are going to face, that come up no matter how old you are, or what you've been through, or whatever resources you have. And I think that moment where you were in that airport and you're like, I could easily go to the bar, and you literally had that conversation with yourself, and you chose and especially with your friend passing
Yeah.
and knowing that it sounds like your friend would like, it would be an easy, like, yeah, like it'd be so easy to go and get like trashed with all that. Like it's an easy, like, oh yeah, this is totally socially acceptable for me to do this right now.
Oh yeah.
And like in that, not only did you choose like, this is the moment where I get to choose a new path.
Mhm.
Right? Because you were like, I didn't even know if I was gonna be able to stay sober. And in
Yeah.
that very moment, you chose like against that feeling that had been so habitual.
Yeah, and that day was the day that I changed the neuro. Like,
Yeah,
I
you like
100%.
rewired your
new
brain
path.
Right.
in that
It's
moment.
fucking crazy. So I know more about that now. You know what I mean?
It's
Especially
huge.
which, yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
powerful. Just that
Yeah.
one choice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and how that really like
Mhm.
you really tapped into a new power and
Yeah.
you tapped into a new option
Mhm.
for yourself. And I think
Mhm.
that, and not only did you just do that based off of that choice, but what you said that made it even more powerful is that you chose yourself.
Yeah.
And it sounded like for a long time you weren't actually showing up for
No.
yourself. So
No.
like, I just think those moments are
Mhm.
so important to like
Mhm.
hone in on,
Mhm.
because I think there's so much of that where like
Yeah.
things become so comfortable because they're habitual, even though whether they're violent or unhealthy or whatever. And I think
Mhm.
even in like bringing your awareness to that one moment and
Mhm.
choosing something different, that's just different, a different way of being,
Opens up
is
a
literally the
whole
start.
new world. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have
Mhm.
to know, you don't need to know what's going to
Mhm.
happen the next 8
Yeah.
hours, 10 hours, 24 hours,
No.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that is key. That is
Yeah.
so key. And so I just really wanted to highlight that because I think it's so powerful
Yeah.
part of your story, Vanessa. And
Mhm.
just even just your, again, it just brings it back to like you're the power of your will, like deep in your core in your soul, to be like, no, I want to do what I want to do right now. And that's going to choose to be totally opposite from what I've been doing.
Is the takeaway for people listening that, dude, if you can just choose in one moment something different
Literally.
that you
Yeah.
are committed to, and if you just choose it once, then you can open up the doorway to
Just the act in that
choosing.
moment in
Yeah.
itself.
You have
it,
a new
like,
understanding of what's possible.
what you're
Yeah.
capable of. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
if you've
saying
done
I
it
made
once,
the
you can do it
choice
again.
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have it all figured out. Just gonna
Yeah,
fall on my
no.
lap. No, it's like a
Mhm.
fucking work to get to where I am.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
it's
You got to
that-
keep choosing
Yeah,
just do it
every
again.
time.
don't get it twisted and don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm, you know what I mean? Like I have been there and like, dude, life is full of challenges. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
just unicorns and fucking rainbows. You know what I mean? And like life is fucking hard sometimes and sometimes it sucks. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
yeah, make the most of it, dude. You show up for yourself. You love yourself. Like you find joy.
And then
in
doesn't it
just
get
about
easier
anything.
over time though? Because you're rewiring your brain. So now you've reprogrammed a new habit, which is
Yeah, and then
to-
choosing that
Exactly.
opened up like this whole like arsenal of like what I didn't even know existed. You know what I mean? Like how I show up for myself in different ways. You know what I mean? How I like I don't know, being able to talk about what I'm feeling and like owning my feelings and like all of these different, you know what I mean? It plays into so many parts of your life. Like once you
Yeah.
choose that, like you open up so many possibilities, like
Yeah.
Totally.
to like, yeah, I don't know, let go of things that are no longer serving you and like creating something that you can always create something new. Like you can always
Yeah.
create something new. And like I said, I'm not going to say it's easy because it's, I mean, I personally like, you know what I mean? I come up against stuff and I'm like, I have to like be in it for longer periods of time, you know what I mean? Than maybe other times, you know what I mean? With different, you know, depending on what it is. And like, but I'm still loving myself in that moment and allowing myself to feel things and move through them at my own pace. And that there's no time like frame on something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think
Yeah.
that's, we like human condition is like, oh, everything is like, no, you spent too much time to, it's like,
Yeah.
no, you can't tell
We're
somebody, oh, you
conditioned.
need to get over that or whatever. No.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here. Like, if you want to talk, like, you know what I mean? Just the power of connecting with humans, I think, really opened up for me when I got sober and being more intentional. And also, you know, having a lot of fucking anxiety because I feel like drinking was something that kind of like subsided that a lot. And
Yeah.
like my social anxiety and, skateboarding has always been a way for me to express myself without even having to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you just have this common connection when you see a skateboarder, you're like, sup, you know what I mean? It's like you don't even use words. You're just like eye contact and then all of a sudden you're skating together and you don't even know each other's names. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like you have to fucking work. You have to work for your shit. You have to work for your life. Like you really do. Like you and I'm grateful that I chose to give myself another chance and um to really figure that, like just, figure it out, and also still have really awesome friends in my life after like seeing me in really dark place like for a long time. But
It's amazing. Something that I
you
just
guys
thought
are
of.
both just like,
And
I'm
I'm
like, so
just like, keep talking.
Totally. It's
Something that I just thought of is like, I love when, cause like for a long time we'd like go to these events or whatever. I'm not really at these events anymore. Like passing the torch on, but I just love when there's just like this experience of, for a lot of people, if you meet someone you really admire, like you're shy or nervous or awkward or whatever. But I loved knowing that me too. I was like the shy, awkward kid growing up, but I just love that that's who all of you all were, like all the like pro skaters that would go to these events and stuff. So it was just always so funny to me to know that maybe the perception is that the fan is more shy and awkward and nervous, but like in my head, I knew that it was just as awkward and nervous and shy for the pro skaters. I was always laughing in these scenarios because like I would just be there taking photos or watching or whatever. And it would always just be so funny to me because I'm like, this fan does not know that like Vanessa or Alexis,
it's literally the first thing I say
is like so awkward and shy and nervous to like be with that fan.
I'm like, how are you feeling? Because I'm super awkward. I just disclose, like disclaimer right away. I'm just like,
it makes it less awkward because it just gets that out of the way.
And then I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm just, you know what I mean? I love skateboarding just like you. And, let's,
everyone's just a shy
awkward together. I'm here for it,
I just love that so much.
Yeah.
I think
awkward together.
Before we get to like really deep dive into your awkwardness, Vanessa, I think also it'd be really cool to like offer up to anyone watching this, like if they have a friend, a family member, or they themselves like are experiencing like addiction and like are just like kind of struggling, tug of warring, and wherever they're at, really getting that like wherever they're at is perfect, right? And like what like is there anything else? I know we've talked about a handful of things of like just really trying something new, and all it takes is like those one moments, just each moment by moment, taking life sometimes. So like, is there anything else that you feel you can offer up that can really, just be a contribution to anyone dealing with that?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the time, maybe like shame, I don't know, plays like a huge, or whether it's you that is struggling, with the addiction, or knowing someone or being close to someone who is struggling. There is a lot of shame around, or there has been. I think it's, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that like I needed to talk about this. And I did go to meetings for a minute, but then I realized I was like, I don't want to be indoors. That's my story. As like, I just want to skate. Like I literally want my recovery to be skating and just, you know what I mean? Like showing up for myself, exercising and all of that. It doesn't, for anyone like listening, like it doesn't have to look a certain way. Like it doesn't have to be like it's doomed or you're doomed. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's so many resources, there's so many outlets, and I'm always open to a conversation as well. Like I check my messages all the time, and I can definitely talk based off my own personal experience, and like what's worked for me. And no two stories are alike. They're very individual. They're very unique. And also, like you're not alone. And then there are moments where it does feel lonely, and but there's so much support. Like I don't think I realized that until I started my healing and going to meetings and stuff like that, and meeting people and hearing stories, and feeling a connection, like a deep connection to other people that have like struggled and like suffered from addiction. So you're not alone. And I wish I could be like, oh yeah, it got easier, I guess, for me, you know what I mean? But everybody's different. And I think being very aware and not forcing an outcome is really important, and being able to like really listen to yourself and like where you're at and what you're feeling And I hope that, whoever is listening actually has someone to talk to. And yeah, we're all like a community here. Like we're all stick together, and we all support each other one way in one way or another. So I'm always open for the conversation, and yeah, there's options, dude, and you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And also just like the judgment or maybe like the fear around like relapsing, or, you know what I mean? It's just like, no, like this is a part of recovery. You know what I mean? And like whether my story is like, no, I haven't relapsed, that's mine. That's my story. That doesn't dictate, or I will never measure up. There's no measuring. Like, so yeah, it's like you fucking got this shit. Like it's it's not gonna be easy, but you're making a fucking choice. That's like you're choosing you, and that's the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself. Like choosing you, and yeah, that's what I did. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, also I feel like that's just like why we are even doing this right now, is because so much of when we all deal with whatever we're dealing with, whatever we're dealing with can be dealt with out loud with friends in a safe space, right? And in whether it's a skateboarding community or your own friend group or some other culture community, like when you can talk and be real with other people about it, that's where the healing starts to happen. That's where the shift starts to happen. That's where you can start to like transform whatever it is that's there for you. And I feel like that's what I loved so much about, there's been different times and eras where different groups of people travel and stuff like that. But a lot of the trips that we went on, because of the events, you have a lot of time, at the hotel at night, or like on the plane or in the car, whatever, waiting for the rain to stop, whatever.
Yeah.
And just really having these like really amazing conversations. And that's also what I really want for others too, that might not have that community yet. Or the younger generation who maybe isn't as used to hanging out for hours endlessly with their friends talking about anything.
That's what it's like I feel like I'm very fortunate, you know what I mean? But there were many times where I didn't have that, you know what I mean? And like, but here I am, and I do have it now, and I'm like, I'm investing continuously, because like, you give, you take, you give. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
and our intention too with this is just to have a conversation with, I know that if people are listening, you can't talk back to us, which we might change in the future. Like obviously there's technology, but just being able to feel like you're part of a conversation is amazing. And like, that's what I want for everyone, and I do also feel like it's harder now because like I'm not inspired to leave my house because I have my phone, my laptop, my TV. So like if I'm 16 and I can't,
we're all in the same place. We're all in the same place.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have
it's like
Long Beach, I feel like
it's like harder to get out. But when I was younger, we didn't have all that stuff. So I was like, get me out of the house. Like I'm going to walk, I'm going to ride my bike. Like I need to find someone to hang out with. But I do feel like that's something that's harder for like just people that are younger than us. I don't know. I might just be making this up, but
no, I think you might be onto something a little.
Yeah, right. It's like it's easy to stay at home when you have like things to distract you, and it's harder to leave your house and go do something in real life because there is a lot of fear around that too. No, I mean, I could speak firsthand. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm like anxious and like going through. I'm a depressive person as well, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to leave the house today. Like I'm just fearful of everything. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. But I mean, I just love the idea of being able to like be in a conversation with people, because that's where I feel the most connected. Right. Like, and nowadays we rely so much on like, texting and DMing and emails. It's just like, I want to hear a human's voice on the other line.
So weird.
Right. So
I think that's why I get excited with like FaceTime and stuff too. I'm like, oh, I feel like we just hung out. Like so cool.
The
like,
closest thing to it.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's what happens in your 30s or I don't, you know what I mean? I don't really know. But I actually get excited about those things. That's so weird.
I do too.
FaceTime is awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Sometimes I FaceTime my mom. I was like, "Sup, ma?" Like, she's like cooking dinner. You know what I mean?
You're like right there with her.
Yeah,
Closest thing.
it's like cool, nice hang.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Let's hug.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
virtually. Yeah.
Well,
But,
with that,
yeah.
I'm curious, like, Vanessa, what are you doing now? Like as self-care, what are the things? I know you said like riding your bike, you're getting more into nature, it sounds like, working out, like tell us
meditating?
yeah, tell us all about
Well,
like,
I
that.
mean, I did start up or I took up meditating. God, I don't even know how long it's been. Maybe since like around June, end of June. But recently, like I hadn't been meditating, and I was like, should probably check in with myself about that. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. Sometimes you just get into this like pattern behavior, and like,
Were you noticing a difference when you weren't like meditating?
I fucking think so because
Yeah.
I've done it for the past. I'm back on it, and for the past 4 days, and there's something so like rewarding. Like you took time for yourself,
Totally.
and I recognize also like, oh, you can actually struggle through a meditation. It could be a lot of chatter like happening, you know what I mean? And ultimately, even if that is my experience at the time, when I get to the end of it and I finish it, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I actually you still took the time for yourself, even if you struggled through it a bit, you know what I mean? And then there are other moments where you're just like, holy fucking shit, that was euphoric. Like, you know what I mean? And you like open your eyes and you're just like, wow. Like,
that's awesome. I see like the practice of that, like just creating like consistent space for yourself.
When
to
do
show
people
up
do
however
that?
You're showing up.
Yeah, but when do people like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like
Discipline.
you can talk yourself down and be like, oh, you sucked through that meditation. Like, but ultimately for me, it's like, well, that's not fucking conducive. Like that doesn't feel good. So I instead choose to be like, hey, you took the time. Good for you. Maybe it'll be better. You know what I mean? It will be like smoother next time. You know what I mean? But it's like, I have no expectations. It's just like, you go in and like, that's another thing is like living life in the uncertainty and like not having expectations. That's fucking hard.
Totally.
It's practiced every day. And like, I have a lot of feelings. Like I'm very just a feeling human. Like, and yeah, so meditation's really great. I feel like
what's your like? Would you use an app? Like,
I do use an app because I feel like it actually keeps me accountable. Like,
totally.
I know people that just literally carve out the time. They just play music and they do it this way. But this is what works for me right now, which is awesome.
It's like a guide. Is it guided?
Yeah.
What's the app? Which app do you use?
It's Headspace.
Got it.
Yeah. So, but also what's rad about it, and this is my experience too, is like not everybody, you know what I mean, like likes it. But it was my first time like even considering, let alone like downloading something with the intentions of doing it.
Yeah.
And then I did it and I was like, oh, I'm so great at this. and like, I thought that was really funny. Like I told that to a friend and she laughed at me and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not. Like you have to, you know what I mean? Because I think at first I was doing like 20-minute sessions because it would actually take me a little bit longer to get into that headspace and where you're in your body and you're in your breathing and all of that. And then over time I could shorten it if like I didn't have a huge window of time, like I could shorten it and be able to like get into that. Everything takes practice. Like I'm like, it's not like I woke up and I was like, this amazing skateboarder, you know what I mean? Sometimes you pick up things a little bit quicker than others, but ultimately you're still putting in the work and, you know, and showing up for yourself and like carving that space for yourself, you know what I mean? And your self-care and stuff like that. So yeah, meditating is really good. I'd be lying if I said I was skating because I have not been skating. And I know that that's also plays a huge role in like my mental health and also my anxiety, I'm sure. It's so fucked up that I know, like I can literally write down things that I know, like especially what I'm putting in my body, like all these. We can talk about this later, Ash. And it's like, why do I do that? You know what I mean? Like, why do I do this shit? It's like I like want to suffer. It's like I love it. You know what I mean? But I don't. And,
I think it's because we're automatic. We're machines.
Totally.
Like we're wired to do things not because of knowledge, but because
it's
that's
like
just,
capitalism too. It's like so many things telling you like, oh, I can't chill, I can't do, you know what I mean? I have to be doing, and it's like I literally spent so much time like I told myself I didn't do anything, and actually I did. I like went into nature, and like that's like so grounding for me, and I actually did things, you know what I mean? But I have this other like dialogue happening over here is just like you didn't do shit, like you didn't, you know what I mean? And then it's like no, actually. And that's what's good about talking about what you're feeling. You know what I mean? If someone's willing to hold space and you know, reciprocity, obviously, one would hope, you know, you're able to like, I don't know, like I value other people's like feedback or, you know what I mean? It helps take you out of like those, I love how much I jump all over the place. Like it's so funny.
It's great.
Yeah.
you don't jump all over the place that much.
Well, no, but I do. But I got better about bringing it back.
I think you're super eloquent when you talk.
I totally agree.
It's like a full on.
So we're not friends, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I like so hear so much of what you're saying, Vanessa, and myself of like, especially being a skater, someone needs to be outside. Like I've like I can't sit still. I like can't even read a book. Like it's got to have pictures. Like
but then when you don't do it,
right?
You don't do it. It's like what the fuck are you doing? Like what? You just go walk. I'll walk. Yeah. I'll like go and meditate. I'll walk to the beach. Like. Thank you. Very close to the beach. Like I can walk there at any time and throw on like, you know, my headphones or whatever and go and meditate by the beach. You know what I mean? I feel productive after that. Like I feel so good. And I walk back and I'm like, oh, the water. I mean, I'm a Cancer. Like I'm like nature, water. You know what I mean?
All
like, I love that you walk.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because it's like, people are just like, like walking.
No,
like, especially skaters are like, I gotta skate.
Well, I think as a doer, like walking instead of just sitting still, it can be a little bit slower pace.
Have you not seen how much I move?
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Fucking like, I'm like crossing my legs. I'm crossing my legs. I'm like this. Like
I totally get it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But I think no, you're fine. I totally agree though. I think that sometimes like finding out like what does meditation look for yourself. And like even just sometimes realizing like, oh wow, like I even have a hard time just being with myself, like being with that silence and just being inside of whatever's inside of here right now, like today, you know. And I think that it's important for people to really explore what works for them. And I think something that that really works for me is like really like creating a space of gratitude. So like in the morning, like I have such a habit because I'm in fitness world too. Like I have like 3 a.m. starts sometimes, right? And sometimes I'm like, that's the only time where I can get on my email. And I'm like, it's not a great way to like start your day is just starting like, by responding and like getting things. Cause like you said, like what happens is then all of a sudden, like it might start to be experiences like, oh, like I just like, I contribute so much to other people and it's really easy for me to escape and not like take care of me. Yeah. And so something that really works is like gratitude. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just sit with like the things that I'm grateful for, whether it's like I think of a handful of different people or something that happened that week, or imagine like how rad today is going to look instead of like, oh my God, how am I going to get everything done? You know, just really like sitting with that. And again, if I'm like, oh, I'm going to set aside 15 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, I only have 5 minutes. I'm not going to be like, oh, can't do it. Bye. Like emails or I go, like, I'll just be like, all right, I got 5 minutes.
Get the 5 minutes in.
Yeah. And it really does do something. And I think just speaking for myself, because I really find contributing to something bigger than me, like really brings so much gratitude and reward and gives me a sense of purpose that like, it's really easy, one, like I said, to escape in contributing to others and not like have to worry about like what's happening over here. Yeah. But I also, it's really easy to also be like, oh, I'm
exhausted. Avoidance. You know what I mean? It's avoidance though. Like,
oh, totally. Well, and it's also like, it's easy for me to be like, oh, like I work with people. I need to like go into a cave. I need to like not socialize. And I think what it is like, it's also a reflection of how much space am I giving myself through my day? Yeah. Right. Instead I get to like be like, oh, people are this, people are that. Like, oh, they like take so much time. Like, oh, and it's just self-care and like understanding capacity and boundaries and just figuring out like, what does it look like for you? Like, what is meditation? I think especially meditation these days, like people are like, well, what is it supposed to look like? What is it, you know, and it can so easily be this thing that we're not like good at,
it's know? Like becomes another thing that you're trying to be
good
at.
That's how I am about like journaling.
100%.
Like that I will just, I will reveal right now. I was like, that's how I am with journaling. I'm like, my grandma, since I was like super young, was like, you should write. And like, you should write. Like, you should write. Even just till today, you know what I mean? It's like, you should be right. And I know. And then it's like the whole journaling is like, I feel like it has to look a certain way. Or there's a
Like
right,
no one
or
else
there's
is
a
gonna see
right
it.
or wrong. No, nobody's gonna
Yeah.
see it, but I'm gonna see
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like, you're just like such my own, like my heaviest critic. And like,
Yeah.
I have probably like accumulated a handful of journals and like have not written in any of them. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, until recent, like I've been better about it, but still it's like, that's just one example where
Totally.
it's like, it doesn't, and having conversations about it, you know what I mean? Where someone's
Yeah.
like, let me validate you and be like, hey, it's okay that you feel that way. You know what I mean? It doesn't actually look one way. Like
Totally.
there's no wrong way to do it. It's like the fact that you're even taking the time to write, you know what I mean? Even if it's like, hi, I'm sitting down. Like it doesn't matter. It's just, you're carving that space. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I feel like anyone who's like been like quote unquote maybe like I don't want to say successful, but maybe someone who's mastered something, like you've become a master of something. Like you've clearly mastered
I have
a
that
level
mentality
of skateboarding.
Like
You're gonna
years.
have that.
Years.
That's like I know that's the thing that drives you to be like masterful at
Yeah.
skateboarding. But on the flip side, it's also the thing that stops you.
It's almost your
from-
downfall too
Yeah.
for other
Totally.
like I'll be walking and like whatever, like processing thoughts or just like allowing myself time to like be with whatever I'm feeling. And then I was like, I just thought to myself, I was like, I just asked for the patience to just like try something new and like stick with it and like let go of like all these preconceived or like the ego and just really like the ego is there to teach you. Like you need your ego.
Yeah.
Like that's what I believe is that you need your ego because your ego is always going to be there to teach you something. And I was just thinking, I was like, I would really like to change my outlook on trying new things. You know what I mean? And actually trying them. You know what I just, it's just with anything in life, like whether it's like I get really pumped up about summer party and like, oh, I wish I could sew. It's like, bitch, you could sew if you wanted to sew. Like everything is online. You have all these people that would be willing to show you, but God forbid you like you're in a beginner state.
Yeah.
And
it's so hard to be a beginner.
It's the fucking ego though, because
Yeah.
I feel like once you get a stroke, like you're just, you know what I mean? But the thing is like, there's my hyper awareness. It's like, I am aware that it's ridiculous. Like I am aware that it is keeping me from actually doing things that like I would fucking love to learn and enjoy. You know what I mean? It's just like building stuff. Like in like whatever, like making tables or doing whatever, like just woodwork and stuff like that. Like I pretty much taught myself, bought my own tools, all of these things. And I was like, but it was like a slow process. You know what I mean? You're like, and I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, don't ask me measurements or like how this works. You know what I mean? Like, I just know some basic stuff, but who knows what I could build or like if I just allowed myself to like access, those parts that like you desire like so much. And yet somehow you're always in your way. You're in your own way. And I'm like, dude, I could be good at other stuff aside from skateboarding. Like, you know, it's clearly skateboarding is what shows it's possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So
it's an indicator that all you
it's so
could
interesting though. It really is because I crack myself up all the time. I was like,
that is really funny.
It's you.
You could be a
That's
sponsored
the problem, right?
Sponsored sewer.
sewer. You could be a sponsored sewer.
But
I think that's called an apparel designer.
A tailor.
Yeah, but I
tailor.
mean, could you imagine? I could just be like making
Totally
samples
could.
for us. You know what I mean?
That would
and then
be
that's
awesome.
it because it's like less is more anyway. And like here we are. And I'm just like, dude, I could just learn how to sew.
You
I
could.
sewed at one point in my life.
You learned
like
how to
hem
skate.
all my pants. You know,
You learned how to skate really well in 10 years. You became a master at it. So you start sewing today.
Your words.
A decade from now, you could.
Do I enjoy myself? Yes. Skateboarding. Yes. Eating shit. Love it. Landing a new trick in your 30s. Pretty fucking cool.
If you
That's so true.
So if you stab yourself sewing, then you're gonna love that too.
Dude, you're so right. Get out of my head.
It's painful.
Get out of my head, Kim.
You sew through your finger like with the sewing machine?
I mean,
selfie with your
Take
first
on a hobby that
injury?
has repercussions for failure.
I keep thinking about thrifting and like all the fabric that's just lying there that's from the fucking 80s and 90s. And all I could do is just like literally take a sheet of it, buy it, and like sew something up, get some elastic, and you know what I mean? Have a little fun.
It's so true.
All right. This is the
Is this happening?
well, this is the shout out. Who wants to teach Vanessa to sew? You probably already know people.
I guess
Anyway.
this is
Well,
the
Do you need
shout-out.
a sewing machine?
I feel like my IG gonna get flooded.
Spanish guitar and
Yeah.
Flooded.
Oh, I can't
Anyone
wait.
wants to send me like just them
Some, like-
serenading me with some violins, piano, like I don't know. That's cool and super romantic and sweet.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't know. You can find everything online. I'm just
You
saying,
really can.
these are the things. It's like, why? Why do we do this? Like, why do I do this? Like,
Why
it's
do you think
so-
you do that?
I don't.
Is it the whole beginner thing?
Yeah.
Is that, do you think
It's like
that's
I just
really
want to
the
be
root?
good.
You
Like,
wanna
I
be
just wanna
good, yeah.
good. Like I don't, and it's so
I totally get it.
I don't know. I read something online recently that I screenshotted too because I was like so moved by it. I've met this person. She's like a I don't know 3-time Olympic fucking gold medalist, like snowboarder. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But she wrote something about fitness and movement and the body and all of these things and like how we create we see so much of what we do as a chore. And you know what I mean? Like taking care of ourselves, moving our body. Oh God, I got to go fucking work out. Jesus Christ, it sucks. You know what I mean? And like, rather than having a completely different outlook on it where it's like, fuck, dude, you get to like move your body and like do it. And you always like feel so good. It's just kind of rewriting or re-navigating.
It's like a
old
context
shit,
shift.
dude. It's
Yeah.
old stuff. It's engraved. It's embedded.
Yeah.
Like you've embodied it for so long. Like, of course, it's gonna be hard. Like you're gonna come up against it, and you're like, it's all there. It's like you've been doing this for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like telling yourself, this is how you've been navigating for so long, and then you get to a place where you're just like, well, fuck that, and then you choose to like. I'm really glad we're talking about this because I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to fucking sew, and I'll teach myself. I don't give a fuck.
We should have a race. I don't know.
Spanish guitar, sewing.
Because it'll help me really like get on it. And a
The
race
next-
like a healthy race.
music.
Vanessa.
Like
A year from now, we're gonna do this again, and you're gonna be playing the Spanish guitar, and you're gonna be sewing.
yeah.
Maybe that'll be like a
It's-
whole thing we take on the road. You sew, I play Spanish guitar.
Yeah, custom summer pants,
Ah,
just like on site.
What's up? Are we doing this?
Dude,
make
anything
happen.
is possible.
We'll talk.
Um,
Like we'll figure out details later.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's just so true, though. I feel like it's also really inspiring to hear when someone is like really good at something that like there are barriers.
Oh
you know?
yeah,
It's
it
like
feels so good to
people
talk
think-
about it.
Yeah, people think that just like, oh, that person's just good at that. They're naturally born that way, and it's just like not true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
sometimes
true.
people are
Sometimes.
really good at something, like and they pick it up real
Well,
quick.
you can
but
pick it. You can pick up something, but you
it's
got to put in the
picking it up.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I
you got to
think
put in the time.
I think exactly what y'all are saying too is like we have this like idea that like some people are just naturals at it, and I think it goes right back to that perspective you were just talking about like what do you know yourself capable of doing, da 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 da, like
Mhm.
it's even gendered, right? And like
Mhm.
who's like a
Oh, yeah, for sure.
natural at certain
Mhm.
sports or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and it's really about like what's been your exposure, your access,
Mhm.
and like what is your self narrative around whatever it is. Do we have past experiences that have told me that like I'm not going to be good at that, or like, hey, that's not a space for me, or like, wow, this is where I thrive, right? And who's gonna like,
It comes from somewhere.
right? So I think it's
Yeah.
like a
Mhm.
really important thing to highlight where we
Yeah.
talk about like somebody's a natural at something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And also just talking in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like just
True. Don't talk to
seriously,
yourself.
No, but like I'm just like grateful for a lot of the things that we are talking about, like discussing too, because like it gives me like one, I hear other perspective, and also I value both of your perspective, and then it's like, oh, you just like saying things out loud, and then you're able to really just like, I don't know, move forward with
yeah,
stuff
definitely.
and
Yeah.
make a choice, and like just I don't know.
Yeah.
I enjoy sounding ridiculous. I know that like some of my fears that come up might sound ridiculous, but I talk about them. And And then I feel better. Like takes away the power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's not internal dialogue anymore. I've literally like talking about things is a way of releasing and then just moving.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
I've always been, not always. I have not always been this way. Practice. Therapy.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's like letting the thoughts out so they're not trapped in there, so you can have different thoughts and create different things. Otherwise, it's just like, you know,
well, you're
over
not
and
really
over and
leaving
over.
any space for anything else. So.
Yeah, it's just like cluttered. There's
Mhm.
too
Well, I
much.
think that actually like there's a connection there, maybe even between you and like the idea of journaling.
Mhm.
What I hear is like you're absolutely in love with like talking to other humans. Like you love that. You love to get to be
Do
with
I?
all of that.
Do
That's
I?
I'm getting a little hint of that.
Like
how,
I
like,
think once
maybe
you
writing?
get me going is like, oh yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I would be lying if I said I wasn't like anxious, but I also think like my anxiety is from excitement.
Yeah,
Because
it's like
those two things are like, yeah. So,
Very close
yeah.
together. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think again, if like we're with like people that we feel safe and comfortable and non-judgmental and all that, then like really getting to have like authentic and like
Yeah.
deep conversation and
Yeah.
say
Mhm.
whatever there is for you to say, like
Mhm.
is some of the most powerful space you can create for somebody,
Mhm.
you know? And I know for me personally, like I'm the same way, like journaling, like I'm like my hand will not go fast enough. Like I would rather just talk to somebody, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
I get that, like we said, different methods for different people.
you could record. You could do a audio journal.
Audio.
I know.
Talk to yourself and record it, and then listen back to it.
I think I just like created
Dear
this
Ash.
story around. I think I created the story around journaling for so long that I've just been replaying this thing. So it's just like, no, actually, if you just choose to, it's like discipline that keeps popping in my head is just like the wanting and the not wanting. You know what I mean? Or just like the act of like discipline and doing. You know what I mean? Like sometimes. It's been an interesting like conversation, I feel, for myself with especially with journaling too. I'm like, just
What if you just write one word?
Just do it. What if you write
One word a day.
I wrote an entry like a week ago. And then it was just like
That's amazing.
That's great.
how do I write? Do I write in caps? Do I write cursive? Like do I
That's awesome.
This
Bullet
is my
points.
fucking brain. Like this is like currently it's just like bing 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 bing
I
bing.
get
Like
it.
yeah, it's just I love myself. I got a lot of like self-love and also I'm like, hey, this is where I'm at right now and it's okay. Like
Yeah.
Totally.
you'll
A
be
cool
somewhere else in a week or
exercise.
something. Oh yeah, do tell.
Yeah, a cool exercise we used to do at this nonprofit I worked for. It was like around media literacy, and they'd always be doing all different stages of production, and they do like interview processes in the community. And so one of the first exercises in the morning, just to get like the creative juices flowing, was everyone had a sheet or two pieces of paper, and you literally there was like a certain amount of time. I want to say it was like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on what we were up to that day. And literally everyone would just sit and write. And it was just whatever came in your head, write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. And ideally, like the idea is that whatever you're dealing with, you
will
get
come
to like,
out.
exactly. And you capture it somewhere, and that paper, you can tear it up after, you can take it home, you can do whatever you want with it. But it allows, like Kim was saying earlier, like new space to be in and like to like capture it somewhere and just like physically the act of crumbling, shredding, throwing it out, there was something powerful in that for these young people.
Let's just say I'm feeling motivated after this.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, especially like creatively as like a part of a process or just
no, for sure.
as a
and I've
human.
heard of that like process as well. Cause that's, I mean, like, yeah, I've had people like close to me tell me like, you just write. Like, it doesn't matter. Like you can write about the fucking color of something. Like, it doesn't matter. Eventually, like something will happen. And like, just doing it.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at that. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Bye. Like,
well,
that's how you became a really good skateboarder.
Apparently.
You were like, you didn't settle. Well, you were like, I need to improve. I need to like learn the next trick. I need to like whatever you said to yourself around, progression or, perfection even.
Well, the gratification in skateboarding too is so real, right? From trial and error, the gratification, I think, is what has skaters continue to skate, right? Of all the failing, all the falling, all the frustration,
But it's
all the
never
emotion.
over. It's never
Oh, it's never done.
over. It's like, no, it's so crazy to think about. Like,
Yeah. But I think it's exactly a mini version of life. Like you give your word to something and then all of a sudden you go for it back to 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 back, however many times it takes. And then as
Yeah.
soon as you get
Yeah.
it, like you've actually stepped in a new place of understanding what you're capable of. And then you take on the next thing. Even if it's like you do a tray flip and all of a sudden your second foot actually gets on the board for the first time.
Yeah.
You lose it. You know what I mean? And so I
Mhm.
think, yeah, it's just like a new understanding of
How'd
yourself
you know?
every single
How'd you
time.
know that 3 flips were
Yeah.
like a struggle?
Because I'm with you.
I just can't with that trick.
Oh my goodness. Don't go
God.
down tray flip road.
Mm-hmm,
But I do. I think that's like,
yeah.
I think that's why skateboarding is such a huge part of people's identities. Because
And
you
also,
Well, it's
really
also
do-
really
why it's
hard.
being used as a tool to
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like build confidence and also just like sense of community and all of that too. Like it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's
I
really
mean, it
hard
could be
to, like-
bias, you know what I mean? Because I'm a skateboarder, but also it's just like when you actually witness what, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Yeah.
it's kind of fucking wild. And
It's not, I don't think it's biased because we see it. We observe new
That's
people
what
all the
I'm- yeah.
time. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just totally like, it's literally just like super transformational. Like when they
Mhm.
start to even the end of that first 1 hour to
Mhm.
like a year later, it's
Yeah.
just like they're a different person.
Yeah.
So it's
So awesome.
it's true. This episode brought to you by skateboarding.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we're coming up on time. Also, I think I'm running out of space on my computer because it's recording.
Because I've talked a lot.
We all have.
We could go on forever and ever.
Mm.
So I guess to complete, just to end the conversation, 2 things. One, I mean, I think we kind of already touched on this a little bit.
Mhm.
So I'm like, which question do I ask? What do you feel like what's the legacy you want to leave behind? Like, what's your commitment to whether it's our community or, beyond, but like, what's important to you now? Like, given, you've accomplished a lot, you're still in it, you're progressing, you're in this new realm of like challenges of like, stepping into a new realm where like
Yeah.
you don't see a lot of people like you. You're taking on a new skill. There's a lot of pressure, but given all that, and then also what you've been through, like what really matters to you now, today?
I mean, honestly, God, it's always going to come back to just community. It's always like full circle. I feel like I've kind of had my foot in like so many different things. Like I've been privileged and fortunate enough to like experience a lot of different things. And I feel like what keeps coming up for me is just like I don't know, just being very intentional about where I like invest my time and you know what I mean, what I'm doing. And I know you and I had talked about obviously our brand and all the things that we want to do. And I feel like that's just a universal thing, not just with the brand, you know what I mean? It's just like wanting to be more intentional about I don't know. I love what you guys do with like Skate Like a Girl. I always get so pumped. I always wish I could be there. And it's just, that's what I'm saying, being more intentional with my time and the time that I do have off from, my other skate work, like, you know what I mean? Which is really awesome. You know what I mean? Because
So
I'm
great.
constantly like evolving in that and learning and, no experience is the same. Like, no 2 experiences are the same. And like, it's a lot of work and all of that, but also it's just like, I prosper in that and I persevere and I learn and I get to work with a team, which is fucking awesome. I love working with others. Like I love it. I grow from that. And I don't know. I just want to like apply myself to everything. You know what I mean? Whether that's like camp or you know what I mean? It doesn't I don't know. It's like I know people want to like change the world. I just want to like make a fucking difference. You know what I mean? And like use my platform or, I was having a conversation with someone and I realized that like our community has actually like privileged me with the voice that I have. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I didn't just stand up and I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? It was like, it's recognizing that like, I just want to give, like, I want to give back to that. And also in any way, whatever that looks like, doesn't have to look one way, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it comes back to like earlier in the, like our conversation as far as like being more intentional with the time that I have, you know what I mean? And creating and doing that. Like there's so much, you know, skate gatherings and stuff that happen in LA. They're happening all around me all the time. And I'm like, I always tell myself, I'm like, why am I not there? You know what I mean? Especially if I'm home, like, but whatever. I'm in my own place. I'm like processing my own shit, going through my own stuff, but also I'm in a place where I want to be more involved with stuff like that as well. And donating my time to that. And what else?
Well, it sounds like just like being a contribution to others, but also to yourself, because that's what we talked about this whole time is like self-care and really choosing yourself. So like when we say contribution, we always think about other people, but it's actually really important to like contribute to yourself so that you can then have a foundation to contribute to other people. Because like if you're not focusing on the foundation of your
the infrastructure,
the infrastructure, you know, of the, you know, the thing that holds you up, then it's hard to contribute to others. So it's about, I think, if we want to make a difference for other people and contribute to others, then we definitely gotta like put ourselves first. And I think that's something that
I gotta do the shit that I said that I need to do.
You gotta get to sewing. Get to sewing. You're gonna change the world through your sewing.
Get to skating. Which reminds me, I'm going in tomorrow to like finalize the shape that I've been working on. So wish me luck, because after this I ain't touching shit. I ain't touching nothing. I was gonna like, this is my board. This is it. Like,
you've been fine tuning it this whole time?
That's awesome.
I wouldn't say this whole time. I just, you know, like
little by little.
Yeah, but he's a professor, man. He's always working with somebody on a shape, and like I just haven't. Let's just say on my downtime.
What changed?
Well, I think just over time, I noticed that the concave was like changing, and which I feel like just happens. You know what I mean? Especially when boards are pressed in fives and stuff like that. So it's when you start learning more and more about what you love, how it functions, like, you know what I mean? Like that you can make modifications, adjustments, like calibrations, like all this. Like I love going in and seeing Professor like Paul Schmidt, because he's just like, you just don't, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but also I'm just like, oh, this is like so, and then you do, and then some of it makes sense, and like he's been doing this for so long, you know what I mean? And it's so admirable, and like it's inspiring when you go in there because you learn something, and or maybe you learn that something actually works this way, not the way that you thought that it had this whole time. Like it's really crazy. But anyways, I'm just working on a mold that has like a little bit more concave, because I think my boards were getting flatter. And because I like to skate everything, like I feel like having concave for skating transition and stuff like that is important. It's a personal preference, you know what I mean?
Totes.
So so just working on that. And then which I'm excited about, because I feel like I'm a perfectionist. And like I said, I'm always standing in my own way. And it's like, well, if it ain't perfect, I ain't going to feel that motivation is not going to happen. Like I'm doomed. You know what I mean? But not really. I've just had a leisure vacay away from work.
That's awesome.
Now I get to like be gone every month and then be very intentional with my time when I'm home. I'm going to skate.
Yes.
Maybe I'll like come up there and
don't play.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like Kim and I will talk, and like, or I'll see both of you. We'll do like an event, and it's fucking rad and like so inspiring, and like yeah, let's skate. Yeah. And then it's like, why? Like I'm totally capable of like coming up there and do, you know what I mean? So
it'll happen this year.
I'm gonna journal about it.
Perfect.
Put it into existence.
Maybe you could sew like journal.
Yeah. You know?
Oh, sew words.
I could just do some like embroidery, you know what I mean? Like just the possibility. That's another thing. Possibilities are endless, really.
So true.
I also feel like things just like having patience, right? Things like it starts with you having the thought of doing it, and then, you know, just being patient too, and like continuing to keep that like whatever you said or created alive. Because over time, I mean, nothing happens overnight, you know?
Yeah.
So but being patient, like for me, it's like learning to be patient with things that I want to do or create has been like the biggest, takeaway is that if you can be patient and create patience ongoingly, like things will become actualized.
Yeah.
Like so much has happened in our community and like
And
for
I feel like you're able to
person's-
enjoy like what's happening. You know what I mean? Like it's
not just
to,
trying to get to a destination, but like enjoying the actual process of getting there.
And not giving up when it doesn't happen, maybe as soon as you want it to happen.
Right.
But that also comes back to like forcing an outcome. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like you actually have if you just keep showing up, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's being okay in the uncertainty.
Yeah, totally.
I think about that shit every day.
Love it.
So last part, we're going to finish the conversation by
a tough question.
No, you don't have to do anything. We talk.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard.
There's that second.
Right?
The
Americano wind is going to keep me until 5 a.m. watching like cartoons.
That's hilarious. No, we're going to complete the chat by acknowledging you.
Yeah.
And Ashley can go first, but we're each going to acknowledge you.
Oh.
What do we mean by that? Can we?
Yeah,
like an appreciation? Like what?
You want to share, Ashley?
Yeah, I think for me, what it means to like acknowledge somebody is to really like have you really get who you are for me, for my community, and like really for you to really get to see how powerful you really are. Because I think this thing called life is really about like our relationships and how we really like land for other people, not necessarily reacting based off of that, but really getting how powerful you really are and really seeing your greatness. And so this is just a reminder of your greatness. So Kim, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely it. I mean, I guess I'll just say that like acknowledging someone is sharing with them like how they show up for you, and it might not be what you expect. And I think that's what's really cool about when you actually acknowledge someone. True. It's not thanking someone, that's different, but to actually see and hear and recognize like and let them know like by expressing that to them like how they occur for you and like who they've been has influenced like your life or your experience.
Totally.
So that's kind of what we mean by acknowledgement or acknowledging. Go.
Okay. Vanessa, I tremendously like want to acknowledge you for who you are for me is really a legend. And I know we throw that term around in skateboarding like so loosely, but like literally having put your foot in every parts of skateboarding and been through all the obstacles and challenges and tribulations, and the path that you've taken has been so perfect for you to be this contribution to the planet and making a difference. Absolutely. Because I know right here with me, like you have been huge as a role model, as a mentor, as somebody that's continuously skating. And I'm only saying this, and I'm going to keep talking until you actually tear up. Tears?
But you might have had too much coffee, but I promise you the fucking tears are like underlying right now.
No, but I really, it's really important because I think it's really easy to want to like naysay or like criticize like this thing called life or people around us. And it's really important that we take the time to like give each other love. And you are somebody so powerful in my life and in this community. For me as like a little skate rat, as like an 11-year-old up until right now, is just getting to really remind myself right here, right now, how life is supposed to be lived. And it is really about like applying yourself and trying things on new and really staying true to your root and your authenticity of like whatever you love and whatever's important to you and sticking to that. And community. And like, thank you for being a part of this community and being the contribution that you are currently. And I cannot wait to see what you create in the future and like all the wildness in terms of like what you carve out as like income and a job and career and what your contribution continuously looks like for the skate community, for women, and just as a friend. So like, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Yeah.
Jesus, Lord.
Is there a tear?
Is that the tissues?
Is there a tear?
That was amazing. I love it.
Is there a tear?
Squeeze a tear out.
I feel like I'm always crying. Okay.
Yeah, but thank you, Vanessa. Thanks for talking with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. I think
Yeah.
feeling seen is like it's such a powerful thing. And I think for a long time I used to just while we're here and we're doing this, I felt like I should share that. Like I think I used to deflect that a lot, or not allow people to appreciate or
For sure.
acknowledge. And getting to such a different place with that, and also being someone giving as well. You know what I mean? Like how it doesn't matter what's happening, like how good it feels like to be on the receiving end and also to be the one giving. And so that's probably why I'm not crying, but I'm just kidding. I'm so caffeinated right now that I just don't think that that's gonna happen, even though
you're dehydrated.
That too. Like my tear ducts are like taking a fight. Yeah, they're on hiatus right now.
Yes.
But I think what I was getting at is just that I'm so grateful to be in the place that I am now, to be able to like hear that from you. And thank you.
Yeah. That's awesome. And let it in. Cause if you can't, like, if I feel like
I'll be crying soon.
Bathe in it.
Yeah.
I just feel like what you talked about, like kind of like deflecting, like I get that that's a way like to not.
It was.
And when you can let that in, when you can get someone, you know, sharing who they are for you, then you can also then be that way for other people.
Oh, this is like a cyclical like thing too. I feel like I've had a conversation with Eileen about this too. It's like when she's, you know what I mean? If someone's like, oh, you know, it's like, no, you just, you know, completion.
Let it in.
Yeah. Like be with that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to acknowledge you for, I feel like for me, it's just like you're like such a fun, radical, energetic example of like how you like we can live our lives. And like even before I met you, like when I saw you in the magazines, I feel like that's just such a demonstration of like what is possible in like being a human, like to have fun, to be scared, to be a beginner, to be a master, to try new things, to be willing to show up when it's not comfortable or it's scary, to be with failure, right? To be with accomplishment, achievement, and then like get back up and do it all over again, like every day, every year. I feel like that's just such a inspiring way to take on life that, you know, I just appreciate that you being you and doing what you are doing is an example for me and a ton of other people. And I feel like no matter what you end up doing or what we end up doing, like that will always just be something that influences me, guides me, and also like makes me want to like be real to myself, right? To like keep it real, like the way Vanessa does. And remind myself, you know, that it's okay to be, you know, a beginner, not be perfect, be messy, be whatever, all these things, vulnerable. And then to let people in too, because I feel like you just let people in. Like you are not different with like people you've known for a long time or people you've just met. You're literally just like, all right, here's my brain, open the door. Here's my heart, open the door. Like you guys get to
today?
see.
I'm just like, you know,
people get to see the inside. And I feel like just that's not the average experience. Like, you know, that's not very ordinary. So to just like, it inspires me to also let people in, right? And like
that's so cool.
to like express and like live out loud, right? And like whether you're self-expressing through like your skateboard or, you know, now, you know, other, you know, creative outlets, I just feel like it's super powerful and I appreciate that. And I just thank you for being that, whether you chose like to take that on intentionally or not. I feel like that is like who you are for me and for so many other people. So thank you. And for just being an awesome friend and a business partner. And like I feel like my mentors are also my friends and my peers, and we all sort of like are that for each other. And I just appreciate like being able to like share my thoughts with you and like you share your thoughts. Like obviously we're working to build a brand together, but also like the reason why I'm excited about it isn't because of the end goal, right? Or the money or the products. It's about
Mhm.
getting to like be in, communication with you and also just sharing the journey together. And it's like same
Yeah.
with like Ashley and Skate Like a Girl and other
Mhm.
people that we work with. It's like literally a family, and I definitely feel grateful that I've gotten to like choose these people that I admire that I get to work with. Like not everyone gets to work with or interact with or work on something, with people that they actually admire. Like that is freaking amazing. So
Yeah.
To choose and be chosen,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the last question is there anything that you want to be acknowledged for? And this is part of the like letting the acknowledgement in, because a lot of people are just like, no, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
is there anything that you feel like you are really proud of, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
we're here to acknowledge?
Yeah, I think that I am proud in the ways in which like I've chosen to like show up for myself and rewrite some things that were no longer serving me, because
Mhm.
with that personal work, not only is my life directly affected, but so is everyone else around me, and that I'm able to love myself and love others, and I don't know, just keep showing up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Obstacles, challenges, whatever. Obviously, my sobriety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like just making that choice, choosing to also like talk about it, and even if I did it, like it's I think it speaks volumes as well, like that. You know, I'm grateful for that every day. And Yeah, I don't I guess I mean there's probably a lot of things, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
like showing up for myself and loving myself, so that in return like I can love others and
Yeah.
and do more,
Yeah.
with that. Weird. Weird.
All right. Well, since that's what you want to be acknowledged for, I will acknowledge you for that, which is just, I don't know. I heard showing up for yourself so that you can show up for other people, right? So
Mhm.
to me, it's just like being like, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like choosing to love in general, to create love, like for yourself and others, right? And then also choosing to be willing to rise to the occasion, like rise above the occasion, whether it's this obstacle of alcoholism or whatever other, challenges are presented with you. Like life throws you different circumstances and
Mhm.
challenges, and you're always willing to grow and expand in those situations. And just be
Expansion.
like, yeah, like be like
Yeah.
unstoppable in the sense
Mhm.
that it's not like you're go, go, go. It's like you're willing to look and say, okay, where can I like evolve myself?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that's definitely such a powerful way, again, to live life, and not just like, not to compare, but I just feel like I celebrate you and would, since I met you, like wanted everyone to know you as well, because I think that's just such an inspiring way to be, and like I wish more people could know you personally so that they could like see that as a possibility model, or like
Yeah.
see like, wow, like, okay, if she's doing this, like maybe I can take that on. So
Totally.
did that cover what you wanted to be acknowledged for?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
It's like it's just an example right now that I'm choosing to like stay in and hear it. You know what I mean? Like
And
it's so
not
I
leave
just want to
meeting?
be like, no.
Yeah, leave meeting.
No,
Leave
but it's
meeting.
important. It's important, and I'm
You
yeah,
joked.
yeah.
Gotcha. The leave meeting joke is because on the Zoom conference, there's a little button on the side that says leave meeting.
Oh, I see it. I have been.
No one else, whoever's
They
watching
might
this
not.
can't
Oh.
see it. They can't see it. They'll be like, what are they talking about?
But I was thinking it's just like choosing to like step into the fucking unknown. You know what I mean? Like, and that's,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
it's
Like
it's
being
what it is.
willing
Yeah, and you don't know.
to take a risk.
No expectations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's something I like. You know, I do. I show up in every day. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not perfect. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? And I love that I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I
Yeah.
just, that's what I love about getting older too. It's like, you know what I mean? Just learning till the day you die.
Yeah. I like that you said like the opportunity to evolve, like when those obstacles arise, and just see it as an opportunity to evolve.
Expand. Yeah. And like, and loving yourself, I think, is like expansion. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just how it happens.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, you guys are
All
really
right.
gross. I hate you.
I was just thinking the same thing. That's
with
so
a deep, deep, loving passion. And I can't believe you kept me on. What time is it? Damn, we just
was a long
went
time.
in, didn't we?
Wowzers.
You know what? Just got to throw this one out here. I feel like 9 Club has been trying to get me to go. Like, this would be a duration of like 9 Club. And I just been like, nah, you know, like what? Because I judge with Kelly. And
right.
we work together, and he's fucking awesome. And it's really funny. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm totally capable of like doing 9 Club, but that's totally different. They're like I don't know what they do. I don't even know if I want to revisit that. You know what I mean? Like,
you should do it because then, like,
I
that's a
should do
different
it.
audience,
I will do it.
right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. I hear you. I see.
I mean, I don't want to say should, but I think the opportunity.
Oh yeah, we hate the word
is-
should.
The opportunity.
Yeah,
there
to
is
evolve.
really great things can come
the
with
audience there could learn something because you being on that show is not the average person on that show, you know? So that's
I think they
the
had Nora,
opportunity.
and that like went really well. But yeah, I really
That was a long time ago. They had
yeah, it
Lizzie and
was.
Leticia as well. But
yeah, Kelly keeps hitting me up, so it's really funny. I'm just like,
I think you just sharing your story is like super inspiring, you know?
It's so
yeah, but
powerful.
I was a blackout drinker. I don't remember a lot of shit. You know what I mean? They're gonna pull some stuff up, and I'll be like, what?
Don't remember that.
I was there. Wow.
Wasn't there.
Wow. I'm gonna like start taking notes, like
my biography.
yeah, like
Recovering it.
as told by fucking like everyone at 9 Club. Like, well, I wouldn't even need to write anything down. I could just watch my episode. You know
There
what
you
I mean?
go.
Like,
There you go. Just
no,
type it
I
up.
need to write. I need to write. I need to start writing.
One word. One word
said.
tonight. That's
Yeah.
your goal.
Okay.
Just
when I used to do karaoke during my drinking career, the song that I would pick was Fleetwood Mac's Rhiannon, and then
oh wow.
yeah, and then I got Fleetwood Mac lyrics on my side that says she rules her life like a bird in flight, and who will be her lover. So I'm not going to sing it, but I did just tell you.
Okay, fine.
Those lyrics there, so
Fine.
maybe people don't know that about me, you know.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people that did.
But I have Fleetwood Mac lyrics tatted on my side, and I got them when I was drunk. But I'm really grateful that I got them. Like
that was a good drunk decision.
Yeah.
That was.
I was like,
thank you.
That panned out well.
Yes, that is exactly what I told myself. I was like, I'll keep this. I'll keep this one, and then I'll cover up the rest.
All right, that was awesome. Thank you, everyone, for
Thanks
listening.
so much, you guys.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Squeezing the juice. Thanks for just joining us and giving us your time and your energy and your attention. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
So good.
Was that your mouth? It
Yeah,
sounded
dude.
like your butt.
I
You like
know.
leaned a little bit. I thought you lifted a cheek.